And hello again, everybody, with head coach David Dean. Mitch Gray back with you, and it's the David Dean Postgame Report. It's brought to you by SMI Systems and Methods Incorporated. And there's Shakespeare, there's Shaw, and then there's the real drama. It's called college football. David Dean, we had a little bit of it Saturday in Melbourne, Florida.
We did. I tell you, I cannot say enough about our players. All the adversity that we faced in the first half, the things that could have gone wrong, went wrong. Our defense continued to play great defense and keep them out of the end zone. The only score they had in the first half was off of 30 yards of penalties, 15 on the kickoff, and then second down, another 15-yard penalty. And, we were kept plugging offensively and finally got to where we were moving the football. But our defense played a great football game, and, I give credit to both defenses in that game. That was a great defensive football game. If you love defensive football, that was a fun one to watch.
Now, you told us all week their defensive front was really, really good, and turned out you were a pretty good prognostic.
Well, they are, and, they did a great job. They did some things that we have not seen. They are very athletic up front and caused us some confusion at some things, and it took us a while to settle in and get our guys comfortable with what they were doing. And I think the main thing was when we upped the tempo and we kind of took some of their stuff away because they couldn't get signals and different things, and we're forcing them to line up. And I think we wore them down just a little bit, and I think that ended up being the difference in the game.
Two statistics. One of them, touching on what you just said, I'll ask you about the other, kind of go back to defense in a moment. We ran 90 plays Saturday.
Yeah, I had no idea we did that. And amazingly, the first three series of the game, we went 3 and out. We had 9 plays. We didn't have a first down in the first quarter. And for us to get the number of plays that we did, again, it shows you how we kind of wore those guys down. But again, the reason that we got so many plays was because of our defense. Our defense played it. When you can hold Florida Tech to 170 yards of offense and 7 first downs, you're playing a great football game.
And you're talking about a team that was averaging over twice that many yards per ball game. I don't think you have to tell anybody connected with West Georgia what Mark Cato can do, what Antoine Haynes can do, or anybody in the Gulf South Conference. And yet you shut them pretty much to a standstill.
Well, we did, and we held their running back who was leading the conference in rushing. I think we held him to around 50-something yards. Again, just an outstanding effort. We were flying to the football. The defense is what kept us in that ball game, and we eventually kind of wore them down. And then I think it was very, very suiting that the defense ended up making the play to win the game. I think they deserved that, and I was excited for our defense to be able to do that, and excited for Ja'Kyron Young to intercept that pass and return it for a touchdown.
There has to be karma or poetic justice or something. Ja'Kyron last year had the scoop and score negated on the inadvertent whistle at North Alabama. The play at West Alabama, the penalty 30 yards behind him.
Yep.
And then, doggone, he was due.
He was due, and again, we had great blocking on that. Everybody was smart. Nobody blocked in the back, and we had guys pulling up that didn't have good angles. But Ja'Kyron Young resorted back to his running back days at Irwin County. What a great run. And at the end, you could just see there was 4 or 5 Florida Tech guys that were just laying on the ground where he had made those guys miss and took that in the end zone. And, I can't be more proud of a player and what – again, what he has gone through and the plays that he has made for us this year, he was deserving to finally get that touchdown.
Absolutely, and a great job there. And Gulf South Conference Defensive Player of the Week. I think I would have never nominated anyone ever again if he hadn't earned that.
Yeah, what a great job. I mean, that play right there in itself is deserving of being a Conference Player of the Week.
One other guy who stood out, and he ended up with a lot of snaps and a little twist we threw at him on defense, was Malcolm Penny.
Malcolm, we put him in a position where he was kind of mirroring Cato. One thing that Cato does, what he will do is he will hurt you with his legs. If things break down and you drop back and you don't, he doesn't have anybody open, he can run. And we had Malcolm Penny that pretty much mirrored him everywhere he went, and he made a big sack there at the end of the game when Cato broke out, and we made the tackle, kept him from getting out of bounds. But the reason that you didn't see, we had a hard time getting to him, and he would step up in the pocket, and the reason he was throwing some of those balls low or high was because Malcolm Penny was on a beeline going at him.
One thing you said during the week, it was not, if we don't hit him, make him uncomfortable, and I thought we did that.
We did. Our rush was very good. A lot of times we only rushed 3 people. We dropped 8. We were going to force them to be very methodical in what they were doing as far as moving the ball down the field. So we got pressure with 8, and then, of course, with Malcolm Penny mirroring him up, we made him uncomfortable. When he stepped up, all of a sudden there was a guy there. And if you're a quarterback and you got a guy, especially a guy that's as physical as Malcolm is, coming at you, it's going to make you a little nervous.
Coach, GPS says it's 7 hours, 57 minutes from our campus to that stadium. I'm guessing in a bus, throw another hour or 2 on it.
Yeah.
I bet it didn't seem that long coming home. Not like it would have.
No, it didn't. Our guys were really excited getting on the bus. It was a lively bus, and it got kind of quiet. I think after we passed Orlando, everything kind of quieted down again, and we stopped just south of Valdosta, right across the Georgia line, and let our guys get out and get a snack and stretch their legs a little bit. And when they got back on the bus, it got lively again. But it was good to get that long trip home with a victory, especially the way that we won it.
There's a lot of elements to help you in football. There's size, there's strength, there's speed. Sometimes want to is as much as anything else, isn't it?
Well, that's the one thing I challenged our guys Friday night when we had our team meeting, and then when we had our team meeting before we left the hotel Saturday. I challenged those. Want this game more. They are very, very good at home. They have a great home record. When you watch them on film, they play differently at home. They play much harder. They play much better. And I knew it was going to be a heck of a challenge for us, especially after a long road trip. And I challenged our guys to want it more than they did. And I think bottom line, when it was all said and done, I think we wanted it. And it was like the West Alabama game earlier. They made one more play than us. We ended up making one more play than them.
Coach, a few weeks ago, before we went to Clinton, Mississippi, we talked about the playoffs are underway. Mm-hmm. We got to win to play. And you won a big one there. And now you're looking at one more game in the regular season, but you're looking at a good opponent.
Well, we are. We're looking at an opponent that's very hot right now. They beat North Alabama 30-7, and that's impressive enough as it is. But they had the conference champion West Alabama on the ropes for a long time in Livingston, Alabama. They have done a great job in their 2 years of putting that program together. The way that they are playing now to have a winning season in their second year says a lot for their players and their staff. But they're playing with a lot of confidence. They're playing very well. It's going to be a heck of a challenge. And again, it's like you said, this is the 4th week of our playoffs. We're 3-0 right now in the playoffs. This 4th one is going to be probably the biggest challenge that we got. Because there is a lot on the line. We're playing a very good, very well-coached football team and a team that is playing with a tremendous amount of confidence.
And obviously this is their championship game. As far as it goes, they're not going to be in the postseason for all indication. They're coming here trying to win a championship in their own right on Saturday.
They are. And, if you go back and you look last year, West Georgia beat West Florida pretty handily. And I know if I was on the other end of that, I would be a little bit perturbed to be beat that bad and want to redeem myself. And the one thing that we talked about as a football team is you're going to get their best. You better be ready to get their best. This is their season. They have an opportunity to knock a team out of the playoffs. It's something that they can carry some momentum into their offseason. So I guarantee you they're using all that to motivate their players, which I would do the same thing. We've got to be ready to withstand that challenge and play a very good football game against a very good opponent.
I would imagine every fan of West Georgia, students, alumni, mamas, daddies, everybody's going to be talking seedings, pairings, brackets, yada, yada. I get the feeling not one single member of the coaching staff is going to utter that phrase until about 5 o'clock Saturday afternoon.
No, we're not going to worry about anything. We got to take care of business Saturday afternoon, and that's all of our focus. What happens with the rankings and the playoffs? We'll take a look at it, but we're not going to focus on it, and we're not going to try to figure out who our next opponent is. Our next opponent's West Florida. We've got to win this game, and if we don't, we're putting it in the hands of someone else, and that's not where we want. And for 4 weeks, this is the 4th week. We've got it in our hands. We're controlling our own destiny, which is where we want to be. We want to be one of the 28 that makes this playoff. And we can do that if we can win that West Florida game.
Well, I mentioned fans, parents, students. If you're watching this, Rayland Field's the place to be Saturday afternoon.
I certainly hope so. These kids, just what an outstanding effort. I don't think people realize how big a win that was on the road. To go down there and beat them where they are, regardless of their record. I mean, they're a very good football team. They've got a lot of great seniors on that team that play very well. And for us, in the adversity that we faced, to hang in there as a football team and as a family and win that game, it's like I told our guys in the locker room, that was a team win. We played very well. We did not play good special teams. Again, our punt team was awful. But the other phases were all good, and that was a true team win. And these kids deserve to play in front of a group of people that can cheer them on.
I know it's backtracking a little, but I don't want to let this get away. After Jakiron's pick six, we got the celebration penalty, which I know you don't like, but it's kind of hard to stop something like that. But the kickoff team, you mentioned special teams, and we've talked when it hasn't been good. By gum, they were good on that play.
Well, they were. The opening kickoff, we let them have a big return and then had the hands to the face when we were trying. And that's just a mistake. It's an effort deal that we're coming down. And you can't fault a guy. Just his hand slips up and gets in the face mask. But we gave up a big return to start the game. And from there on, they got nothing on their kickoff return team. We actually created a turnover in there. That hit that Zed Brown made on their returner was physical. And we got the turnover, so it was good. So we did play very good special teams except for that one phase. And, just silly mistakes. We're not concentrating when we're going out there. And again, this has been a thorn in our side the whole year. Our punt team has been very lackadaisical, has been very subpar, and we've got to correct that if we're going to make a run.
Well, let's start that run. Well, we started it 3 weeks ago. Let's keep it going Saturday at 2 o'clock when the Argonauts come to town.
Sounds good. I hope we will.
Well, for head coach David Dean, Mitch Gray saying thanks for joining us. Kickoff time, 2 o'clock Saturday. West Georgia Wolves host the West Florida Argonauts. Senior day, we only have 10 of them walking, but they're special young men, and we hope you'll be here early to honor those guys and their families and then cheer the Wolves on to a victory, because it's yet another week of the playoffs for us. For Coach David Dean, Mitch Gray saying thank you to SMI for bringing this to you. The David Dean Postgame Report. Go Wolves.